Hello guys and welcome to my channel, and today we're gonna simulate the 2024 presidential race if it were held today. So would Kamala Harris win the election? We don't know yet, we'll see in this video. So that will be the purpose of this video, to simulate the election. Now, after all the first 6 months of Trump presidency, we'll see if Kamala would be able to win that. So in Washington, Oregon and California, you know, it's just a clean sweep for Kamala Harris. Now, I leave the 7 swing states until the end. So I'm coming into the election, this was basically the map all filled in before the swing states, before Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. I'm just leaving the Nebraska 2nd District and also Maine 2nd District because those are split votes and those are actually toss-up as well. So I would say that Kamala Harris would have won the Nebraska 2nd District. She actually won the Nebraska 2nd District by a 5 points margin, less than Biden though, but I think she would have won by a bigger margin if it were held today. Then we need to mention about these 2 states. We have Nevada and Arizona. Nevada, I know it has swung to the right over the course of the last few years, but this was a 4 points margin in Nevada. You don't know, but this is a great margin for the Republican Party. And for Trump, this was kind of a surprise, at least for me, because I thought Trump would win Nevada, but only by 2 or even 1 point, a very tough battle. And it actually got a 4 points margin in Nevada, which is actually a great margin for the Republicans overall, because this was a Democratic state not so long ago, because you have the Latino population, those voted Democratic for a long time, and now they're shifting Republican. That's why Trump did an amazing job here, like 46,000 votes. That is a huge margin. So I think he would have won Nevada if it is held today. So that will be a win for him, at least in Nevada, 6 electoral votes for Trump. Then you go to Arizona, 5 points in Arizona. All the polls said that Arizona is going to go Republican, and it actually went Republican. And if it was held today, it's probably going to go Republican as well, because, you know, there's the Maricopa County, you know, Trump built here 71,000 votes. He doesn't need Maricopa County to win, but Maricopa County is like 60% of the whole state population of Arizona, and this is a must win because this is kind of a bellwether county, but this is where Phoenix is, and if you go there like 5 weeks ago and a year ago or 10 years ago, you see the change has been happening over the course of the last few years, because Phoenix, the suburbs are changing, they're turning to be more democratic, but Trump actually did quite well in Maricopa County. Biden won here, just shy I think of 2 points, and now Trump won by 3. That was his 5 points shift in terms of the overall vote. But also Trump lost here in 2020 by only 10,000 votes. So I think even if the approval rating of Trump now, Trump's approval rating is down a bit, but I think he would have carried Arizona once more. Then I'll go to Georgia. That is a crucial state, not Texas, I'm sorry. Georgia. So this is Georgia basically. You have Atlanta, of course. Atlanta, you have Fulton County, Cobb County, Gwinnett County. We also have the Cobb County, you have Clayton County. All of those here around Atlanta, those are, and Fulton County, of course, which is Atlanta. You have those counties are very important for the Democrats because it represents like 40%, 45% of the state population. So the Democrats need to win there by 30, 40 points, even 40 points, because Clinton won by 30, Biden won by 38, and Kamala Harris won by 39. All the counties here again. The problem was Trump did much better in those very small counties, that he improved a lot, as you can see here in the shifts. He improved like 5 to 6 points majority of the counties, but he actually did worse in terms of the suburbs. You go here, this is Atlanta, you have Fulton County. This is 72-27, you see overwhelmingly bulk of the vote. It's overwhelmingly Democratic, like 10% of the state population as a whole. And then you go to the suburbs around it. You have the Cobb County, is the most Democratic producer county. You see here, this is a huge Democratic county, and you go to places like Rockville County. Kamala Harris did better in Rockville County than Biden. Look at this, 6.7 points better. Those were the first results during the night, and people thought, oh, Kamala is going to win the election in Georgia, but that was just not only the early vote, but she actually did well in those counties just around. You go to a place like Erie County, 9 points better. You go to a place like Douglas, 6 points better. And even in Fayette County, this is a county that Trump won here by, I think, 15 points or something in 2016, and now he only won by 3, and another shift for the Democratic Party by 3.6 points, again Democratic then in 2020. But Trump did well in very small counties, especially here in the south of Georgia votes with the north of Florida. As you can see, this area here in Florida, apart from the city, which is Tallahassee there, and Jacksonville as well, have a lot of red. And then you go to the south of Florida and you have that same red, because those guys vote the same way, apart from the cities, of course. And I think Trump would have won Georgia again, even if it was today, because look at this, this wasn't more than 100,000 votes margin, a 2 points margin as well. He only lost by, I think, 11,000 votes, 11,779 votes. I think this was the margin because there was an infamous call that Trump asked the Secretary of State to give him 11,780 votes, basically to win the election overall in Georgia, and that was just so sad to just see that. But okay. Let's move on. North Carolina, others say that Trump would have won again if it is today, because it was almost 300,000 votes in terms of margin. That was a brutal. I'm sorry, almost 200,000 votes in margin. That was a huge win for Trump. 3 points. And you know, the Democratic Party is always thinking about, we're gonna win North Carolina because this is shifting in our direction. But the point is, you're not getting that margin. You're not winning North Carolina, not even in 2020 when all the factors were in your favor, the pandemic, Trump exhaustion, Trump, all that kind of stuff. And even in their place, they lost North Carolina by 70,000 votes. And that is interesting. In some factors. Why? Because you have the research triangle here. You go to Raleigh, to Durham, and you have Greensboro and Winston-Salem. You go to this part here. That is where the Democrats need to run up the margins. And actually, Kamala Harris did at the same rate of Biden, basically. She did 1 point was, 1.4 points was, but it was mostly at the same point. She didn't underperform a lot. But when you go to places like this ones, like Charlotte, 2.3 points, that is meaningful. And you go to the small counties again, same thing in Georgia. Trump did not do much better in terms of the very big counties. You mean Raleigh, Charlotte, Asheville, Greensboro, Durham. But then you go to the small counties, like this part here. This is kind of you have a lot of black communities in this part. You have a lot of black voters. That's why Trump did much better in, especially black men. And you see here 6 to 7 points. And you go here in the north, same thing. That's why you see many Democratic counties here, and here, because those are the counties that has a lot of black voters, and those voted a lot Democratic. Now they're shifting a bit, and that is probably why Trump did better in many places, especially New York. But that's a business for another video. So I think North Carolina would have gone in Trump's direction. That's also important. Then you go to Maine. I'm gonna leave the 3 to the end, but I'm gonna go to Maine now. The second district is like here. It's those counties. This is the first district is here. I'm just gonna open the second district tab and the results so I can show it to you. So this is the second district, basically. Trump won the 1 electoral vote at stake here in Maine seconds. Basically, Trump won by a 10 points margin. So Trump even won this in 2020 by I think 5 or 6 points. This map is very difficult to understand because there's a lot of small municipalities, and then they're townships basically, and you need to understand. I don't understand much about Maine, to be honest, because they're very small, and there are a lot basically. You can check here. There are a lot of ones to check, and it's just crazy to know each one. You have basically the other states have counties. It's easier to understand. Here's more difficult. But Trump won here by almost 10 points, and that was part of the story where I think this is gonna go. At least this time, this is going to go Republican once more if the election were held today. Then Trump is almost at to 70, but now we have the 3 states to come: Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. We're going to start with Wisconsin. I'm going to leave Pennsylvania for last. Now Trump won Wisconsin again by 20,000 votes, basically. Was about 20-something thousand votes. Wisconsin is always like this. Trump won by 22,000 votes in 2016. Biden won by 20-something thousand votes again, and Trump won by 20-something thousand votes again in 2024. because the swing was not brutal, but the swing in Wisconsin was partially in Milwaukee and also in these very small communities here, as you can see. Milwaukee has 1.5 points. You think that's not much, but Biden won Wisconsin by less than 1 point, so actually that's brutal. And then in the Driftless area, which is this counties right here, you see the business happening, 6 and something points, and you see basically they're flipping a lot of counties. Also, you go here to Milwaukee. In the areas around Milwaukee, have the wow counties, which is of course Washington, Waukesha, Ozaki, and Washington. And those shift. I'm sorry, Democratic once again. Those are very heavy Republican counties in terms of size of lead. You can check here. Look at this. They're very big bubbles, basically. And those shift again Democratic. Then you go to this place here, Green Bay. You have the Brown County, Outagamie, and Winnebago. Those are the bow counties. And then you have, again, they're barely shifted to the left, and those were the ones that shifted to the left the most in 2020. That's why Biden was elected. But I think if the election were held today, this would go a Kamala Harris win in the state of Wisconsin. Then you go to Michigan, one of the most surprising wins for Trump this time. Why? Because of the swing in Detroit, especially in Detroit. You go here, 9.2 points in the biggest county in Michigan. Detroit is Wayne County, and it's a lot of black voters, especially minority voters, and they tend to vote overwhelmingly Democratic. Probably they didn't show up, or they voted for Jill Stein. Jill Stein got 2% in Wayne County. I'm not saying those Jill Stein mattered in terms of the state of Michigan overall for a Kamala to win, but many of the ones, they didn't vote, basically. And Michigan is the opposite of the other places. Why? The cities, the Democrats basically didn't show up. You see here in Wayne County, in Oakland County, suburbs, this is very brutal for the Democrats. Democrats need to run it up the margin, at least 12 to 14 points in those counties, and 3.5 points better for the Republicans. Flint, which is Genesee County, a very important county for the Democrats. Trump barely lost the county, and that was part of the factor why. Because of the Israel-Hamas war, and people are mad at the government, at Biden administration, because of their support of Israel, and that was basically because of that. And also here in Macomb County, this is the people who live here are called the Reagan Democrats. They voted for Ronald Reagan during their presidential race, and now they voted again for Trump. Obama won in 2008 and 2012. Obama won here in both two presidential races, but now Trump won again by 14 points, and this was a brutal shift of more than 5 points, and that matters in this state. That was like decided by 2 points, 150,000 votes in 2020, and now Trump won by about 80,000 votes. But I think ultimately this will fall into Kamala Harris column again. So now the Democrats will just come to Pennsylvania. It's a very important state. It's the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And Trump did much better where? In the cities, again. In the cities and in the outer suburbs. You just see here. Look here. Philadelphia, 4.5 points. Bucks County, 4.4 points. 3.5. 3.1, 2.7. And you go to this part here, which is very important as well. You go to Allentown, Lehigh County, Latino. Lehigh County is the county in Pennsylvania that has the most Latino population overall. And that matters, especially after that Madison Square Garden event where many insults were made to the Puerto Rico population. Lehigh County is basically the proof that nobody cares about that event at all. And many Democrats are saying or partying about that, but the truth is nobody cared about that event at all. And now you go to places like this, in especially Philadelphia, the urban America is starting to be more Trump than ever before. You just see the shifts around New York, but that's not the business for this video. But urban America is going for Trump because Trump finally, in 2016, Trump only got white voters. But this time he got a lot. He got black voters, he got Latino voters, Asian voters, especially here in New Jersey, but that's a business for another video as well. Because Trump did not do much well in this very small counts, like 2 points, 2 points, 2 points. It is enough to flip the state, it is, but he doesn't only flip the state, he actually won the state by more than 120,000 votes, and that matters because that was one of the most impressive by almost 2 points people were saying, oh, Pennsylvania's going to say like within a point. It was 2 points ultimately, and that is just crazy because Trump did much better in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is the biggest county; it's 13% of the state population as a whole, and that was part of the story. But I think Pennsylvania would have go Democratic this time because many independents doesn't support the government now, and I would think Kamala Harris would have won. I'm sorry. At this time, 270 to 268, even though it's going to be a very close race, because even though people are all saying, oh, nobody likes Trump, the problem is people voted for him, as you can see here, 77 million votes, 4 million votes less than Biden, of course, because the turnout was very high in 2020. But the truth is, even though Trump probably did a lot of mess in the presidency so far around Epstein and around tariffs, but the question is, he still has a lot of support, and people underestimate that support, and sometimes they get surprises like Democrats got in 2024. And we'll see you in the next video, probably another video about elections or economics, and thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.